Yo, it's your boy Bess, and welcome back to the NFL Vault. Today in episode 2, featuring Logan, me and him, we breaking down the AFC and the NFC West, and we'll also be answering 3 crucial questions going into the 2025 NFL season. What playoff team from last year will not make the playoffs this year? Also, what first-year head coach will have the most success? And then last but not least, what rookie will have the biggest impact? And we'll be ending this episode with a very bold prediction for 2025. So without any further ado, let's open the vault. All right, y'all, we are back. And before I even get started with this episode, I want to welcome Logan back on the show, right? He was on my second season, right? He was on a little consistent for a little bit, and then he ended up having to leave because of schedule conflicts, etc. But this reminds me of back in the day, Batman. When I was Batman, you was Robin. You know what I'm saying? This reminds me of the days whenever I was Michael Jordan, you was Scottie Pippen. You know, it's
Uh-huh.
okay. You know what
That's
I'm
all right.
saying?
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. But let's go ahead and get this thing
Uh,
started. I'm not even gonna let you get a come back in. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing started. I already know Logan will clap back in a heartbeat, so I'm not even gonna let him get a clap back in. Let's get this thing started with the AFC West. All right. So today we're doing the Western divisions in both conferences. We start off with the AFC West. Logan, who do you have in fourth place and why?
yeah. For me, it's the Raiders. I do think they're going to be a lot better. I think Pete's a great coach. He's won everywhere he's been, really. Um, I like the Geno acquisition. I do think he's a little underrated. They have a couple pieces here and there, but they're just not sound yet. I think Jitty will have a good year. But, I mean, for me, I feel like it's pretty easy to put them at 4 before the year starts compared to the other teams. That's kind of my reasoning. It's a tough division. I feel like if they were in the NFC South, I could see them maybe making a run.
Yeah.
But that division's arguably the best in football.
So we on the same page with our fourth place team. I'm going with the Raiders. Okay, I think the Raiders. To me, I really just don't like the Ashton Genty pick. In my honest opinion, I don't think this O line is an O line where you can say, "All right, let's put a great running back behind it, and we just run the ball all day." I don't think so. Last year, according to the site that I found, the Raiders were last in yards per rush, right, and it was also last in run block win rate. So it makes like I think people are looking at the Eagles and thinking, okay, we can just put a good running back on the field and let's run the ball all day. The Eagles have one of the best O lines in the league, right? Running backs prior to Saquon were successful there. They just so happened to get Saquon, and now Saquon puts up 2,000 rushing yards. So I understand Pete Carroll wants to run the ball, but Ashton Genty, to me, that's not where I would have went with that pick. It's a lot of holes on that defense they could have addressed without going running back in the top 10 like that. I'm just not in love with that pick. And their O-line, like I said, wasn't that great. They added Alex Kappa from the Bengals, but mind you, he just came from what's the biggest problem in Cincinnati? We'll talk about the O-line. Right. So I mean
And paying people.
that too. The front office is terrible, right? But the O line, that was the problem. So you got a guy from a problematic O line. I wouldn't say that's a great upgrade, right? And then defensively, Tyree Wilson was a first round pick a year ago, and he didn't pan out. I mean, I'm still giving him a chance, right? Some guys are late bloomers, right? But as of right now, he has not panned out to be what we thought he was going to be. And then they just released Christian Wilkins, right? And I don't know if you heard the news, but
I don't know what to think about that.
first of all, you and me, first of all, guys, for those of y'all that don't know, me and Logan play on the same high school team, right? We've seen way worse things happen than somebody getting kissed on the on the forehead. Okay, so if you think getting kissed on the forehead is the reason why he got released from the team, then that's you. I think it's deeper than that. I honestly think
Yeah.
it's deeper. There's no way.
Something else had to have happened.
Thank you. It has to be more to it than what they're saying. But he just got released for what it was worth. He's a solid player, right? But they just got rid of him. And then they added Jeremy Chaney, Landon Roberts. I mean, they're solid. But to me, when I look at that defense, all I see is Max Crosby.
Yep.
That's it. And you could have helped that defense out in the draft, but you decided to go Ashton Genty. So I think they're going to be last. And real quick before we move on, I think Pete Carroll's going to build a great foundation for somebody on that staff to take over events because Pete Carroll's old, right? He's not going to be here forever. So I think he's
Mm-mm.
going to build a great foundation, get them on the right track, and then somebody's going to step in. And I have a weird feeling it might be Chip Kelly, their offense coordinator, even though he didn't he didn't have a good showing as a head coach in Philly, right?
No.
But you never know. Maybe a second chance, and he'll be learning under Pete Carroll, right?
Yep.
So I think that can help a little bit. So I think that's going to be their future. All right. But moving on to third place in the division, who you got?
Yeah, I got the Chargers here. Chargers Broncos are kind of a toss up, but I think the Broncos got the edge a little bit with them drafting Harvey. They've addressed the running back room, and their defense is unreal. But not talking about the Broncos here. Yeah, I got the Chargers at 3. I thought they had a good offseason. I mean, they had a couple good guys getting Becton. Obviously, that's like Jim Harbaugh. It's like, okay, that makes sense. Omarion Hampton was a little bit of a curveball after signing Najee to a decent contract. And they didn't address the skill position room at all, which I thought was by far their biggest weakness and why they lost to the Texans. Lad McConkey, great receiver. They got decent guys around him. Quentin Johnson can't catch a cold in the winter. So that puzzled me a little bit, even though they're going to run the ball 50 times a game. And defensively, they didn't really have any acquisitions that pop out of my head, really. A couple small ones here and there. I just don't think they moved the needle, and that's why I have them at 3. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to be well coached, obviously. But looking at this division, I don't know. I just don't think they did enough in the offseason to get the number 2 spot.
We are eye to eye on this one. This is not really about the Chargers. This is about who's around them, right?
Yeah.
Who's in the same division as them. So I agree with you. I do think, as you said, in that receiver room, they could have went big and added somebody. Because if I'm the Chargers, right, I'm looking at it like this: we made it to the playoffs with our first year head coach and Jim Harbaugh. He's been in the league before, but first year here, we made it to the playoffs, right? So we're trying to get further. So let's add, let's get better. And I feel like they didn't do that this offseason. And like you said, the Najee Harris thing, I honestly believe that Omarion Hampton. I watched UNC very closely. Right
Dog.
since Drake May was on the scene, I started watching UNC very closely. Omarion Hampton is a dog, and
Dog.
I honestly have a feeling this might be bold that he's gonna be better than Ashton Genty moving forward, like in the NFL.
Well,
Like
you got a better offensive line to run behind.
it's a better start, right? Because the Raiders could get better over the years, but
Yeah.
Omarion Hampton has a better start. But to me, it feel like they're gonna be splitting touches a little bit. And it's gonna be kind of like, in my opinion, the Jahmyr Gibbs situation. I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is kind of low key getting held back with David Montgomery taking touches. Because if you saw last year, the last 3 weeks of the season, Jahmyr Gibbs averaged over 100 yards, had 5 touchdowns over the
Yeah.
past 5 weeks, and that's when Montgomery was hurt, right? So
Mhm.
you see his ceiling rises when Montgomery's not playing. So Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris, I'm eager to see how they're gonna rotate them to. Unfortunately, I think they're going to split, which is going to lower the ceiling for Marion Hampton. But yeah, this is not bashing the Chargers. This is
Oh.
about who's in the division with them. So we see eye to eye on this. So let me know at number 2 who you got and why.
Yeah, I got Denver at 2. I mean, again, them and the Chargers kind of similar. Older head coach that's been around. But man, Bo Nix was special last year, and I was not high on any of their skill position guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they really turned it around. They got a good offensive line, mobile quarterback who can throw the ball. Plethora of different type of skill position players, which I think is extremely useful in the NFL. Not having all guys that are 6'5", not having all guys that are 5'9", run a 4.4. And their defense is going to be unreal with them getting Jade Barron, the Defensive Player of the Year. They also signed the safety out of the fort, like from San Francisco. I mean, their defense was already arguably the best last year, and all they did was it seems like from what they did, it's like, all right, Sean Payton will figure out the offense. We're just going to keep loading up this defense.
Exactly.
And when you look at a division with Geno, Justin Herbert, and Pat Mahomes, I mean, they're a lock, in my opinion, to be a top 3 defense as long as they stay healthy. And
Yep.
so they are a team that if they can stay healthy and they get in the playoffs, no one's going to want to play against them because they're going to bash your head in on offense, and defensively, they are going to cause havoc. And that's why I have them at number 2.
Man, I really want to make the Broncos win this division so bad. I just do. But it's a respect I have for the Chiefs that I just can't, I can't do it yet. But this Broncos team will be a very close second. Like
Yep.
an extremely close second. What I like most about this team last year is that they basically went undefeated against all the teams below 500. They took care of business. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can do that, you're basically going to get into the playoffs as long as you
Yep.
take care of business against the bad teams. But I really love about this team is like I believe that his name just slipped my mind. The GM in Philly. Help me out. What's my
Oh,
boy's name?
Roseman.
Yes, Howie Roseman. Boom. He's the best GM in the league. But this dude, George Patton, okay, GM for the Broncos, he's made me respect him a lot more. Okay. He just said, we just thought we had a really good defense last year. But you're always thinking, how can we take it to the next level? Their defense led the league in sacks last year.
Yeah.
Their defense was very good last year, and they added more to the defense. You mentioned Hufanga from the 49ers, right? I'm thinking about Dre Greenlaw, who they also added from the 49ers, right? Sean Payton came out and said that Dre Greenlaw plays like Mike Tyson. Okay, so he's giving off Mike Tyson vibes in
He
practice.
does.
That's scary. That's scary already, right? And then, like you said, all pro Hufanga. They drafted Johnny Barron. Already got PS2, right? The
Mm-hmm.
pass rush is already lethal. They led the league in sacks. And then offensively, RJ Harvey, running back in the draft. I love it, right? He's a great pass catching running back. What does Sean Payton like to do? Throw to his running back. So I think he found his guy. For those y'all to play fantasy, that might be a nice little guy y'all can pick up, right? And
Alvin
then
Kamara 2.0.
exactly. Boom. And then you look at Evan Ingram, who I think nobody's talking about.
Nope.
He's basically a receiver that plays tight end. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I view Evan Ingram, right? So you basically added another pass catcher in this offense to go with Cortland Sutton, right? So to me, I love this team. I really want to put them at number one, but I think we're both on the same page here. There's a respect you gotta have for who's at number one, and number one is go ahead and tell
Kansas
us.
City.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the Chiefs. All their key pieces are still there, and I do think they're going to. I think Pat Mahomes is going to be more MVP Pat Mahomes this upcoming year. Nothing to do with him personally, but I think it's more so everybody around him. People forget Rasheed Rice got hurt early at the start of the year. Hollywood Brown didn't play the entire year. Xavier Worthy got banged up a little bit. It almost seemed like he was on a snap count early on, like they couldn't even trust him.
Yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco got hurt. Their offensive line was horrible, banged up. They got Josh Simmons out of the draft. They signed another tackle. And then you still have Creed Humphrey. They locked up. They still have Trey Smith. Travis Kelsey's still there. He's you get a Hall of Fame guy, like he's still going to be good. But if you get Rasheed Rice, Hollywood Brown, which I think Hollywood might have gotten banged up in practice. Not sure how severe that is, but if you tell me Pat Mahomes has just a good offensive line, not a bad one, but just a good one. Pacheco, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Rasheed Rice. I mean, and Travis Kelsey. Like I just don't. And you know the Spag's going to have a good defense.
Yep. Always.
And so I mean, it's hard for me not to say that they can't go to the Super Bowl again as long as injuries are on their side, and that's a big thing. But yeah, I just Chiefs number one is not really much to think about. They're arguably best in the league every year, but I think offensive skill positions is what's going to show, and I think that's when last year Pat looked a little rough and people were getting on to him. If you got nobody to throw the ball to and you're getting hit every other play, it's pretty tough to play quarterback. So
Yep.
I think he's going to have a bounce back year. And not that he has haters. Well, he does have haters, but people are saying Josh Allen and Lamar and Burrow are starting to pass him up. I think this is going to be a yearly reminder that he's still a guy.
Yes, 1000%. This is the problem, Logan. When we was doing the show together a while back, like we always saw eye to eye on a lot of things, right? Which is it's a blessing and a curse. Because it's a good thing that we think alike, but it's a curse because people want to see arguments. People want to see people disagree, right?
Yep.
But everything you said, you hit the nail on the head on it. Like Patrick Mahomes, I'm seeing people say Lamar's the best. Josh Allen's the best. Joe Burrow's the best. Like what? I'm not even a Mahomes fan, and I can tell y'all he's the best quarterback in the league, like by far, right? And this is a year, as you mentioned, that he might just win MVP because he has the weapons to do it.
Yep.
Rasheed Rice might serve that 4 game suspension maybe, but
Yeah.
once he's back, they're gonna get this thing rolling. And Andy Reid being the play caller, that's the biggest that's the ace in the hole right there.
Still there. Yeah.
Like you have these weapons now, but you also have somebody that's gonna make it easy. We was talking about it on the first episode of with Jarek and Tyrell. That Super Bowl against the 49ers. Two of those passes, two of those touchdowns was wide open. It was a play where they did the motion, right? Then he goes right back. Like Andy Reid makes it so easy for Mahomes. And I think Mahomes has that luxury of having a great play caller in Andy Reid and Travis Kelsey. Yes. Is he the same? No. But will he still be effective?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you have to circle him on the play sheet, on the game plan, whenever you're game planning for the Chiefs? Yes. Like, that's just not going to change because he's Travis Kelsey. And he has that great relationship with Patrick Mahomes. But my main thing is Josh Simmons, who fell in the first round to them from Ohio State.
Uh-huh.
He just got into a fight in training camp. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, right? And he was blocking through the whistle. Like he is a monster. He was
Love
blocking
that.
through the
Yeah.
whistle. Yes, and the defensive guy did not like it at all. So he swung on him. He swung right back. Like I like O linemen like that, right? Being a former quarterback, you know best. Being a former, you love O linemen that's going to go through the whistle and they don't mind fighting because
No
that means
doubt.
they don't have your back, right? So, and that was the downfall. Look at the Super Bowl, the Eagles got consistent pressure on this Chiefs team, and they went ahead, they addressed that. So This team's gonna be a problem for sure. And I really, man, the Broncos. I swear I want to make them number one in this division, but I can't. I've been trying to write off Mahomes for so long now that it's just like, hey, bro, you got it, bro. You got the division for sure.
Yeah. Well, and they have the secret recipe at the coordinator position that nobody wants to talk about because Andy Reid's their head coach. He's not leaving until he retires. He calls their plays.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, Spags seems like he's never going to get a head coaching job ever again. Or I think he had one, but he's never getting interviews.
Yeah.
And they got one of the best coordinators on both sides of the ball that's never going to leave. And special teams. Special teams coach is phenomenal. He's never going to leave. And so there's no turnover every year. That's why they're consistently going to be good. You look at the Patriots, McDaniels was there forever. They had a couple of years where he was in and out, and they didn't do too good.
Yep.
Like the Chiefs, as long as Andy Reid's there and Pat 15's there, they're going to win a lot of football games.
1,000%. I agree. I agree. They don't, and the best thing about the Chiefs is they don't make mistakes. So if you get in a one possession game with them at the end, you're screwed because they're not gonna lose the game.
Nope.
You have to go win it. And in
Mm-hmm.
that process, we've seen teams fumble snaps, throw picks. We saw it all year last year. Like we wanted to say it was luck, but these teams just can't. When you get in that 2 minute drill against the Chiefs, it's who's going to make the mistake. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be them, which is why they are so successful. All right, but that was the AFC West. Now let's move over to the NFC West. All right, this division honestly might be a little nice this year. I think there's one team that I don't really like at all, but I think the other three is going to be nice. But Logan, let us know at fourth place who you got.
Yeah, this one's kind of a toss up, honestly, from 1 to 4. It's kind of hard for me to list this, but number 4, this might be a shocker, but I have Seattle. Um, I don't think they moved the needle much at all. They had a couple signings on defense. They got Sam Darnold, which I consider that a trade off with Geno, if anything. I'd even maybe put Geno ahead of Sam, just because Geno's proved it a couple years in a row where Sam's just had one really good year. Crazy talented. Receiver room is good. I think they lost a little bit with trading off DK for Cooper Cup. Their offensive line is still not great, and I don't think they did enough to fix that. Kenneth Walker can't ever stay healthy.
Yep.
They're going to have a good defense. They're going to have a sound defense with Mike McDonald, but I still don't think they have enough pass rush, and I think that is huge. They have a good secondary, but they don't have enough pass rush. And I don't know. It was tough. It was tough between them and another team, but I don't know. I don't think they did enough. And they drafted that guard in the first round to help. I think he's going to be a good player, but I just don't think they have enough top level talent compared to some other teams. Whenever like we talked about the Chiefs, when it's close in the game for somebody to make a play, there's not many guys on their team I can count. They got a good roster. They have a bunch of good guys. But when you're talking about all pro caliber cats, I don't think they have enough.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks got fooled last year by Sam Darnold, in my honest opinion. So I agree with you. I'm going with the Seahawks, and I don't understand the Sam Darnold signing, in my honest opinion. I think Sam Darnold was in the perfect situation last year. You had the best receiver in football, and you
Yep.
also had a great play caller that comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree, right? So he's always going to put you in the best position to be successful. And I think the Seahawks thought, okay, maybe Sam Darnold has turned his career around. When no, I don't think he has. So I think that that's going to be a big downfall for this team. And then you look at their receiver position. Jackson Smith and Jigba to me is going to take. He was kind of getting better by the years, but I think he's going to take a step back this year. Honestly, like fantasy people, I would not touch Jackson Smith and Jigba this year, honestly, because I don't think Sam Darnold can get him the ball because Jackson Smith and Jigba is not Justin Jefferson. Right. So I don't think it's gonna be as easy to get him the ball. And then Cooper Cup, who stays hurt. Like I love Cooper Cup. Don't get it twisted, right? But he stays hurt. So really, you got Cooper Cup, but do you really have Cooper Cup? You see what I'm saying? Like, cause he might be halfway in, halfway out because of injuries.
Yep.
But like I said, this team doesn't move the needle for me. The Sam Darnold thing, I'm still stuck on it. If I was the Seahawks, I honestly would have went full rebuild. 'Cause I thought they was doing it right. They got rid of Tyler Lockett, they got rid of DK, and then they got rid of Geno, and then
Yep.
boom, they signed Sam Darnold. I'm like, I don't know. And then me personally, if I want Jalen Milroe to sit a year, right, I want him learning from somebody that's worth learning from. Like this is like I'm not even trying to be mean to Sam Darnold, but I don't want my franchise guy. You think I'm being mean? I'm not being mean. I'm trying to be real, right? I don't want my future franchise. Let's say Milroe is a future franchise guy.
Yep.
I want him learning from Sam Darnold, respectfully.
Okay.
Right. So to me that wasn't the move, but it is what it is. So I have them at fourth as well. Who you got at third?
Yeah, for me, I got Arizona at 3. I think this is a team that could shock some people. They're slowly have gotten better and better throughout last year. Um, good sound defense for the most part. They don't have a lot of great players, but they got Buda Baker, and it seems like they just kind of let him do whatever he wants to do because he's that good, and it allows everybody to play a little bit more freely. The only thing I worries about them is Kyler Murray
Yep.
because it is the Kyler Murray roller coaster. We know he's got arguably the most talent out of pound for pound anybody in the league. One game he looks like he's the greatest quarterback on planet Earth, and next week he looks like he shouldn't even be in the NFL.
Yep.
So that one's tough. But I think their skill position groups get still good. Trey McBride really took off last year. Gannon's a defensive coach. I like the way they've kind of turned things around. It's going to come down to offensive line and Kyler Murray. I don't see their defense necessarily taking a step back. I don't think they're going to be elite, but I don't see their defense necessarily taking a step back. Yeah, that for me and for them, it's all Kyler Murray, and
Yep.
I think he's in a weird spot because he is worth getting paid, but when you stick around and having the same quarterback do the same thing over and over again, very interested to see if he finished his career there or sooner or later if they decide to move on.
I agree. I think this is a audition year for Kyler Murray, right? Do we want to move forward with you, or are you a problem? Because last year they actually started off pretty hot last
Yep.
year, right? And then he just went downhill, and that's the like you said, the Kyler Murray roller coaster. I think that he's in a good position to be successful. You have a really good defense, and Jonathan Gannon got there from the Eagles. The defense has been really good, and this year they just added Will Johnson in the draft, who I don't know why he failed so far, in my opinion. Like
He's good.
he's really good, right? Extremely good. So Will Johnson. Then they also got Josh Sweat from the Eagles, right? Who was a part of that havoc that was just put on Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So the defense is going to be good, in my opinion. But as you said, it comes down to Kyler Murray. And you have
Yep.
James Conner, Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson kind of took a step forward last year. So you have good weapons around you. And as you said, some games you look at Kyler Murray and you're like, he's pretty good, right? And then some games you look at him like, oh well, that's Kyler Murray right there. That's
Yep.
who he is. So it depends on him. So I think that you hit the nail on the head again with that one. Who you got in second place in this division?
Yeah, for me this is kind of tough because I'm a huge fan of them, but I got the 49ers at 2. Um, I don't think it's necessarily on them, more so the other team I got high hopes for. Last year was just an anomaly, in my opinion. They had a bunch of guys hurt all the time. It seems like every other week there's a new storyline, a new problem. Um, really trust Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a great coach. Just hasn't got over the hump. He lost to Pat Mahomes in Super Bowl twice. I mean,
Yeah,
that's hard to
it's,
live with, but
it's unfortunate.
that's what happened. I think the CMC injury is a little fluky. I expect him to he'd be back in full speed. Fully trust he'll be fine. Knock on wood. Um, Brock Purdy's better than people give him credit for. He really is. He can make a lot more off-schedule plays. People think he's only good in the Shanahan system, yet he makes so many plays
Yes.
on the run, breaking sacks. Still got George Kittle. I think Ayuk is fine now. You think he's happy? I have no idea. He changes his mind. He might be bipolar. And then defensively, they lost a couple guys. They lost Ward. They lost Greenlaw that we talked about, and then the safety to the Broncos as well. Both of them to the Broncos. Interested to see how their defense looks. I know that they got Saleh back, so it seems like they're bringing the band back together.
Yeah.
But they did lose a decent amount, even though Greenlaw didn't play last year and the safety didn't either as much. That is a lot of production when they're on the field. So very interested to see how they play. They still have Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. I mean, that's if you can pick two, that's arguably two to pick.
Yeah.
Um, Interested to see how their offensive line looks. They got Trent Williams, who's arguably the best lineman in the league. But whenever he was hurt last year, they got exposed. Still have Juszczyk. They're a really good team. I mean, if they're healthy, and I can see them being the 1 seed in the NFC. I mean, I really think they're that good. They still have the talent. I trust their front office and John Lynch, what they do in the draft and what they have done. I think Ricky Pearsall is going to have a breakout year. I think he's going to do really good. He had a couple games late in the year that he kind of took off. They're a team that is very intriguing. I can see them doing the exact same thing they did last year, and I can also see them going to the Super Bowl losing to Kansas City.
I have made a full 180 on this team. I going into the off season, right? I gamble a little bit. Just a little bit, just a little bit. I think I get it from Logan. That's why I started gambling. But I
I don't know
gamble a
who
little
you heard that from.
bit. But their win total was at 10.5.
Yep.
Right? And I was when they lost all those players in free agency, as you just mentioned, I was banging the table saying, "Bro, bet the under, bet the under." But then I realized they have the easiest schedule in all of football next year. That can take you a long way. That really can. Last year during the NFL vault, me and my little brother had a segment. Which head coach, first year head coach, had the most success? We're gonna do that later on in the episode, right? And I picked Jim Harbaugh mainly because he's a good coach, but they had the easiest schedule in football last year. So that can take you a long way, dude. Like that carried them to be the fifth seed, right? Because they played the Texans in the
You
first round.
got smacked.
They did get smacked, no doubt. They did get smacked, but this is just for the division, right? This
They
ain't our
got
playoff prediction.
smacked
This is they did get smacked. Okay, we all watched the game, Logan. We
in
got it.
Houston.
We all watched the game. Yeah, in Houston. Yeah,
Yeah.
in Houston. All right, you just had see this episode wasn't even about the Texans, but you had
Well,
to.
I feel like that's knowledgeable information that we should just put that out there. Easy schedule, and then they play like a really good team, and then they just get exposed. It's fine. You can get back to your point there.
He just had to bring the Texans into it. I'm not. You know what? I'm not shocked. I'm
We
not
see
shocked.
your background. Don't act like you're not biased.
I'm not biased at all. What are you
Yeah.
talking
Okay.
about?
All right.
What's on the background? What are you talking about? There's no bias here.
That's just a green screen, huh?
It's just a green screen. I think I got hacked. I think somebody hacked my camera.
Uh
That's
huh.
not my background, but yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm ready for these bold predictions.
oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, you know I'm gonna come with it bold. I always do. But as I was saying before, somebody had to bring the Texans into the conversation. The Chargers had the easiest schedule last year. Got them to the playoffs. Stop there. Got them to the playoffs. I don't care who they played in the playoffs. Got them to the playoffs. The 49ers have the easiest schedule, bro. And I really don't want to do this, but I'm gonna just do it. Whatever. I got the Rams second. I love the Rams so much, and I think it's just gonna come down to the fact that the 49ers just have a very easy schedule, and they're not an average team, right? But with this Rams team, I love them top to bottom. Matthew Stafford still got it. He's still a top 10 quarterback in this league. They have, to me, it's like Andy Reid, then right behind them, like tied for second is Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, right? And I got Sean McVay being one of those dudes, and then you look at the addition of Devontae Adams. Like you got rid of Cooper Cup, and then you got Devontae Adams. You got Puka Nacua, who I think is a top five receiver in the league, right? And then you got Kyron Williams in the backfield. Sean McVay has so much to play with, right? And it's just I feel bad for defenses going against this team. And then you look at the defense, bro. The defensive line got so much better last year.
Animals.
Animals, Jared Verse, Byron Young, right? They have animals on the D line, and that helps the secondary out. This is a secondary that we don't think is great, but when you have a great pass rush, it helps the back end because they ain't got to cover for that long. I love this Rams team from top to bottom, but I'm just put the Rams at second, bro. I kind of have to. And then one thing that does stick out to me is that Puka Nacua, as great as he is, he has an injury bug as well. Like him and Cup missed a lot of time last year. Puka also missed some time his first year. So he's a walking injury bug too. So that could be a problem. But I'm gonna go with the Rams at two. I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna put the Rams at two.
Okay.
Definitely a playoff team. Playoff locked. Like fifth seed locked, but
Yeah.
definitely a playoff team.
Well, I guess that leaves me to talking about why I think the Rams are number one.
Yep.
I think looking at them last year, you talked about Sean McVay, the weapons they have, Matt Stafford, and I think there is a question. 2 minute drive. Who do you want as your quarterback? I mean, you can argue Matt Stafford any day of the week out of anybody in the league.
Yep.
Sean McVay calling plays. Their offensive line got better throughout the year last year. They got two good backs with Blake Corum and Kyron Williams. They drafted that tight end Ferguson. They still have Higbee. They got two tight ends. See them doing a lot of 12 personnel. So what's that going to do? Load the box. And you got Puka and Devontae with Sean
Good luck.
calling
Good
plays.
luck with that. Good luck with that.
I mean, just ridiculous. And then their defense is why I have them at number one. They were so young last year, and each week they just got a little bit better.
Yep.
A little bit better. Josh Allen put 50 on their head, then they got a little bit better. A little bit better. And as dominant as the Eagles were, they were the closest team to beating them in the playoffs and almost did it.
Almost.
Almost did it. Almost doesn't get you nothing.
Yep.
But I think they're close. I mean, it's going to rely on Stafford staying healthy just because of age. He seems like every training camp now he's got something going on. If they can stay healthy, I think they can make a run. And in their division, just matchup wise, I think they can take care of Seattle and Arizona pretty smoothly. And then them and the Niners is always a fun battle. But yeah, I'm very, very high on the Rams. All those young guys on defense were all rookies last year. I think they had, I know they had two on the front, and then I think they had a couple young guys play here and there in the back. I mean,
Yep.
those guys are only going to get better. They're not going to get worse.
Yep.
Didn't lose any coordinators, defensive coordinator at least. Sean McVay's still calling plays. Yeah, I'm very, very high on the Rams. Good luck guarding that tandem at receiver. I mean that's
A
otherworldly.
nightmare. A nightmare. 100%. And I agree with everything you just said. And that I love
Thank you.
the
I
fact.
appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I give you credit when credit is due.
Yeah, yeah. All
I'm
right.
not always hating on you. I give you credit when credit is
Just
due.
95% of the time.
But but I'm gonna let that slide.
Okay.
But okay, I'm gonna go to 49ers at number one, man. I think once again, strength of schedule, that means a lot in my opinion. You get to play a lot of teams that aren't that great. It helps. And then this is the 49ers team, like you said, like their floor is it's low, but it's not crazy low. But then their ceiling is very high. Like this
Yep.
is a team where they can end up on either side. I'm willing to bet they're gonna be on the good side because Christian McCaffrey, I'm hearing reports that he looks very explosive. He looks like his normal self, which is good. Like last year, he missed basically the whole year, basically.
Yep.
But that was extra recovery time in my eyes. That's how I see it. So he was able to take care of that injury then, which means in the offseason, he was kind of coming off of it, which means let's get back into football shape, right? Let's get our explosiveness back, and he has it back. So I think if Christian McCaffrey's fully healthy, this run game is going to be a problem because you got Kyle Shanahan calling the plays for one. The O line is pretty good. Now, he lost a lot of players, do not get me wrong. But as you said, Robert Saleh came back. That means a lot. I think there's some coaches that are just meant to be coordinators. And
Yep.
I think Robert Saleh is one of them. Right? Like he tried to go to the Jets and things didn't work out. I mean, you can argue Aaron Rodgers got him fired, this, that, and
And
another.
I,
But
I told you that wasn't going to work out, and you thought they
and
were
I
going to do
and
good.
I thought it would. I did. I
So
did.
it's fine. It's fine.
I
Sorry,
was
my bad. I didn't mean to
Hey,
interrupt.
hey, look, a broken clock is right twice a day. So I mean, a blind
Well, the
squirrel,
Logan McDougal clock's right a little bit more than that.
a blind squirrel is gonna
Gets
run
a
into
gets
a
a gets a nut every once in a while. Yeah, we've
boom.
all
You,
heard
you
it.
know, you know the saying.
Yeah. All
Hey,
right.
you've been told that a lot in your life, I'm sure. Because
Not really. It's actually the first time.
oh,
Funny,
really?
funny enough. Yeah, I'm normally the one telling that
Oh, right, right, right. Got you,
to
got you.
you.
Yeah, to me, oh, to me. Okay, all right. Like I said, I'm gonna try to let it slide.
Okay.
But 49ers, man. Brock Purdy. I think he's so disrespected. There are system quarterbacks, and I think the perfect system quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo. Like he to me is, if you looked up system quarterback in the dictionary, I think Jimmy Garoppolo's face should pop up because if he's not in a good system, I don't think he's that effective. Brock Purdy, we've seen him make plays off platform. We've seen him scramble, lead the pocket, create plays. We've seen it. Like I don't know what more y'all want from him. Yes, is he in a good offense? Of course. Does he have a good coordinator? Yes. Does he have good weapons around him? Yes. But you cannot punish him for that. It's kind of like Jalen Hurts. Like I hate when people punish him for being in a good offense. It's not his fault. He just does his job and get the job done. And Brock Purdy, since he's been here, minus last year, they've been successful. Right? He's already gotten to a Super Bowl. So he Brock Purdy's good.
Yep.
Period. Point blank. Right? They can get the Jawan Jennings situation settled. Then you have Jawan Jennings, who to me made it. And injuries can be a blessing in disguise. Right? Because when some guys get hurt, guys on the bench can step in and you see, oh, Jawan Jennings can actually play if I
Yep.
give him regular reps, right? Instead of putting him in every now and then. So Jawan Jennings can play. I think Ricky Pearsall is good.
Yep.
Coming out of college, he was good. Of course, he had a little, got shot, he dealt with injuries last year. So and it was his rookie year. So I think he'll get better as well. Brandon Ayuk, I think he's gonna start in the pup list because he tore ACL last
Yep.
year. But he'll be back eventually and he should be straight. You still got George Kittle. Like to me, this team is good, bro. And
Yep.
with a bad schedule, with an easy schedule, I think they'll take care of business and they can win. And I'm not saying they're gonna win the division by a lot. It can be like it comes down to week 18. Who wins, who loses, right? I think that's how it's gonna be. So very close division, but I got the 49ers coming out on top. But let's move on to our next couple of segments. All right. This question is what playoff team from last year will miss the playoffs? All right, Logan, let me know who you got.
Yeah, this one was actually kind of tough on both sides because I was looking at last year's playoff and I'm like, okay, well, I just think everybody's going to be back. Obviously, we all know that's not going to happen. It's kind of hard to predict, and this might be a hot take, but just kind of the points I made earlier, I'm going to pick the Chargers. And it doesn't make sense. They have a good quarterback. They have a good coach. But when looking at Texans, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, I mean, you have potential teams, another team maybe in the AFC North. I'm not going to say their name.
Yeah, the Ravens, man, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Um, and then, yeah, looking at the AFC West, I put the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos are going to slip. So it's kind of a process of elimination. It's kind of a cop out, but going with the Chargers, same things I was saying earlier. I don't think they moved the needle. I really don't. I they're gonna the running game's got improved, and that they were already good at that. Um, and defensively, they didn't move the needle at all. And any acquisition, they got to keep Khalil Mack. They lost Joey Bosa, who was good but older.
Yeah.
Their secondary's not great. Um, but when you run the ball so much too, the clock team's got to throw it. That's what also going to benefit you. And that same points I was making earlier. And they just their skill position group does not scare me at all. Lad McConkey's a dog. He's a lot faster than people think.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just not scary. And I think the like just going off the Texans horrible division, still not a good division. And then looking at the Chiefs, Broncos, Ravens, Bills, and everybody else, and then I have later on in the episode have somebody else joining the playoffs and think they're gonna take them. But yeah, I mean, kind of a cop out of an answer, but I got Chargers. They just didn't really excite me this offseason.
I got you. And there's a reason why I wrote down two teams because I knew once again, me and Logan, we think so much alike. I had the Chargers, but I also have another team. But real quick, the AFC North team you was talking about, the Ravens, right? Because I mean, Lamar Jackson not that good, right? That's what we're talking about, right? No comment. No comment. Okay, he's talking about the Steelers, guys. We all know who he was talking about. Okay, he's talking about us, but he didn't want to pull the trigger because he
Us.
knows.
You said us, and you said you're not biased.
I meant he was talking about them, the
There you
Steelers.
go.
He's
All
talking
right.
about the Steelers,
Just
right?
okay.
But it's the reason why he didn't pull the trigger, right? He chickened out because he know we're gonna be back in the playoffs this year. So, I mean, smart. It's very smart. I appreciate you for being real. I appreciate that. But I'm gonna head over to the NFC, and I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I think the Vikings are not gonna make the playoffs this year. It's kind of same situation as the Chargers, right? The division that they're in. I think that the Lions are gonna take a step back, but not too much to miss the playoffs. And then I love the Bears this year. I don't know about you, but I'm very high on the Bears train. You're not high on the Bears train. I'm very
Nope.
high on the Bears train. Okay, so
I'm
there y'all
not.
go, guys. We finally disagree for once. There it
It's
is.
not. No. No.
But
I completely disagree by this on this take. Just so you know,
I love the Bears.
completely disagree.
I love the Bears. And actually, I'm gonna talk about the Bears a little bit maybe in the next segment. Might spoil it a little bit. But yeah, let's just talk about the Vikings. I think JJ McCarthy. People really love JJ McCarthy. Like the people really think he's gonna be the next dude in the league. And I don't think it's gonna happen as fast as people think. I think it can happen because he with Kevin O'Connell, right? He's with a great play caller. You have Justin Jefferson, right? Jordan Addison. You have TJ Hawkinson. You have a lot of weapons. Eventually, he's going to click, but I think he's going to struggle early. In Michigan, he was carried by a great run game in a Jim Harbaugh offense, right? You saw Justin Herbert last year. His passing production went down. Why? Because Jim Harbaugh loves running the ball. In Michigan, that's what they did. They ran the football. I looked at even some big games they had, like against Penn State. They ran the ball like 40 plus times because that was their identity. So JJ McCarthy wasn't asked to do much. And when he did pass the ball, I mean the box was loaded. So guess what? The pass should be open. If you're a D1 college quarterback, you should be able to make some one-on-one throws. Right. I mean, that's just so I think he was kind of carried, and I think that's gonna take a year for him to adjust to the NFL. I mean, I think he's gonna struggle. People are gonna hate on him, say he's not good, this, that, another. And then next year, I'm gonna be a JJ McCarthy guy because I told y'all it's gonna take a while for him to get adjusted. So I think this Vikings team is just not gonna make the playoffs. And it's once again, it's not a knock against them. I think the QB's gonna struggle. They're not gonna be terrible, but the QB's gonna struggle, and they'll be like 1 or 2 games out the playoffs. But I think the division is really tough. So that gives you 6 hard games right there, in my opinion. Logan think it's 4 hard games, but I think it's 6 hard games off rip because of the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions. So I have the Vikings not making the
I'm gonna
playoffs.
add something real quick just to add on to that.
Yeah, look,
Call me crazy, but I actually think they got better.
Really?
Yes,
Really? Why? Tell
they
me why.
got Donovan Jackson, Houston native, out of the draft. They also got Will Fries, another guard. Their interior offensive line was horrible. And then you
Mm-hmm.
look at their defense. Their one weakness was run defense. Well, they trade and got Jonathan Allen
And Javon Hargrave, right?
and Javon Hargrave.
Yeah.
So two guys up the middle. Plus they still got, so that front is Hargrave, Allen, Van Ginkel, and then Grenard. And then their secondary was great last year. And then offensively, you were just talking about how you're not high on Sam Darnold, and you said he only did good because of his skill positions and coordinator.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting a more athletic Sam Darnold than J.J. McCarthy then. I'm not saying I don't think he's going to come in and blow the league out of the water, but they're going to be able to run the football. Their offensive line got better. And all that's going to do is allow those weapons on the outside to either be more free, or if they're scared to do that, they're just going to run the ball like they did in Michigan 50,000 times a game because they're scared of Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, and Justin Jefferson being one-on-one.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of similar to what I was saying about the Rams. They have a lot to work with offensively, and JJ can move. So like he's going to be able to run a lot of bootlegs, easy passes, great play caller. I don't see them. I'm not wins wise. They're going to take a step back, but overall, how good the team is, I don't think they're making a step back. I think they're going to be a little bit better than last year. I think they were a little bit too dependent on their pass rush and their passing game, and that's what got them in trouble in the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
my take.
Yeah. 100%. So you're higher on the Vikings. I'm low on them. Like I said, I'm not low to the point where I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna be a top 10 pick next year, nothing like that. I think they're gonna be, like I said, about 1 or 2 games out the playoffs. But hey, Logan, I was a little convincing there. He might make me want to change my pick a little bit. Our next question is, what first year head coach will have the most success? And now we talked about this before the show. Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll, those guys. They're first year with new teams, but they're not first year head coaches. So for those of y'all watching, we're talking about basically making a first year campaign with a new team is the
Got it. No.
definition of first year head coach. All right. So Logan, who you got?
Yeah, I got two coaches, one for each conference. I'll start in the NFC. You're not gonna like this, and I'll say why. Obviously, Ben Johnson's kind of like a all right. We'll pick him. That division is tough, and
Yeah.
there's so much that goes on as a first year coach, first year in the new system, second year quarterback. There's so much uncertainty there where I can't just say I like him. I
Okay.
was not pleased. Caleb Williams, crazy talented. I was not pleased by how he played. He had two coordinators his rookie year. Like I know that was tough.
Yeah.
Their defense is still going to be good. Dennis Allen's a good DC, but them stacking up against that division, I don't necessarily see success and wins there. And that's kind of what I was taking this as, success and wins. I have Brian Schottenheimer. Call me crazy. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, for the
Whoa.
NFC.
I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this. Go
And for
ahead.
me, now this is the same. Maybe I'm just turning to the dark side here. But looking at their entire roster, they lost Zach Martin, who's really good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, that's going to hurt them. You had George Pickens, so that's another receiver tandem that there's so much you can do because I think they're going to run the ball a little bit more. It seems like what he's been saying. They're going to run the ball a little bit more. Love him or hate him, if Dak's healthy, he's good. I'm not saying he's all world. He's a good
Yeah.
quarterback.
It's good. Yeah.
They got a good tight end. They got a plethora of running backs. So they're going to probably do running back by committee. They don't have a guy, but they'll probably throw him in every once in a while. And then they have Tolbert, who's like arguably the fastest dude in the league. He took a slant easy on the Texans last year.
Hmm.
And then George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I don't know how you stop that
Yeah.
because they're both so good after the catch and contested catches. They're a little bit different than what the Rams were working with. I feel like the Rams, those two receivers fit so good in that system when it's so dependent on route running
Yeah.
and getting the spots to where, I mean, the whole game, you can run a high school offense, I feel like, with the Cowboys, tell the tight end to run up the seam and the two receivers to run up the hash. If something's not there, Dak make a play.
Yeah.
I mean, those receivers are good. And then defensively, I just think they were banged up last year. I really do. I think Micah, if my memory's correct, I think he missed a game or two, missed a
A couple.
couple. I could be wrong. Still got Micah Parsons. He's arguably the best defender in the league. Bland was hurt all last year. Still got Diggs. Like they still got pieces on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to cause havoc. When you got a guy like Micah and you got two corners like that, there's so much defensively that you can work with. Because Micah can win Defensive Player of the Year whenever he's that talented. And looking at their division, I don't think the Commanders are going to do this same song and dance this year. I don't. I don't see it with my eyes. I think they got worse defensively, and I think it. I mean, a little. You got a 1 year tape with Cliff and Jaden working together, and then their offensive line will be better once Cosme comes back, who's a really good guard. Laramie Tunsil for them is going to jump off sides 50 times a game and get about 5 crucial holding calls when it matters most. But other
Oh
than that,
man.
he's arguably a top 5 tackle. Like they're going to be good. I think they're going to take a step back record wise, and then the Giants are the Giants until proven otherwise. The Eagles are tough, but the Cowboys have always played the Eagles tough, no matter who's at quarterback. That's a rivalry game. I can see them splitting. Um, yeah, I hate saying it, but looking at all the first year coaches, and yeah, just not Ben Johnson due to the things I said. I'll ride with O'Brien. Kind of a bold take, but I don't I can see them making the playoffs this year if they stay healthy.
Wow, kind of bold. That's pretty bold if you ask me, because I think you're predicting the Commanders fall off.
Yeah,
I think
a little bit. Like I think the Commanders and Cowboys are going to be close, but there's a world that I can see the Commanders not making the playoffs.
okay. So clearly you have Cowboys one of your wild card teams in the playoffs this year.
If I were to pick now, yeah.
Wow, I'm actually guys, I'm shocked. I really am. He kind of threw me off my script a little bit, but I'm gonna I'm gonna go with I'm surprised. And I wrote down two coaches too, and I think I've been talking about Ben Johnson and the Bears so much. I want to give y'all some new content, and I want to talk about Mike Vrabel for the Patriots. Um, I love this Patriots team. I love Drake May. I've been on the record to say that Drake May will be the best quarterback from that class. I don't care what nobody says. I understand Jaden Daniels had the fast start, right? Caleb Williams had a slow start, but we think Caleb Williams will get better because you have Ben Johnson now. But for the long run, I think Drake May will be the best quarterback in that class. I think Mike Vrabel automatically raises your ceiling. You saw what he did in Tennessee. Now he did have Derrick Henry. Don't get me wrong, but he had Ryan Tannehill. We don't think Ryan Tannehill is a world beater, right? I think off rip, Drake May gives you more upside than Ryan Tannehill, right? So you're gonna see him with an actually like top 10 QB upside caliber of a quarterback. When Ryan Tannehill, we knew he was going to be average at best, and also
Yep.
he leaned on that run game with Derrick Henry. I think the addition of Stephon Diggs is going to help a lot. He finally has a number one receiver that can get open. Last year he didn't have that. Last year he was messing with Demario Douglas in the slot, and that was his best option. And you can only do so much with a slot receiver being your best receiver on the field, right? Look at the Bills. They had Khalil Shakir, right? That was their best receiver on the field. You can't because they had Josh Allen didn't matter, but when it got to the big game, you really didn't have nobody that can go make a big play, right? But now you have Stephon Diggs who can play anywhere on the field, right? And he's a great route runner. He was a Texan last year, but y'all got him hurt, so who knows? He might. Y'all,
Non-contact injury. I was at that
y'all,
game actually.
y'all got him hurt.
I saw
And
that live.
it was at NRG, right?
Yeah, against the Colts on
Oh
the
man,
right sideline near the home bench. Ran an out route, went to cut
man,
because that's our fault. Because that's
that
our
turf,
fault.
that turf in Houston, man. Jeez,
That's why they play Super Bowls there. So I don't want to hear it.
that's some bad turf. Yeah, I mean, this is a bad stadium. What happened in the Super Bowl last time Super Bowl was here? Wasn't it Brady and the Falcons? Right, the
That was
23
that was a
comeback.
pretty good one. That was a pretty good
Sheesh,
one.
gosh, yeah, but
Yeah, you
yeah.
you kind of walked into that. That
I
was a
did,
good one.
I did a little bit. That was a good one. That was a good one. But, yeah, I think Stephon Diggs automatically helps Drake May, and then they went and got Trevion Henderson from Ohio State in the draft. I love him as a running back. And you still have a low key stable. Like I think Trevion's going to start, but you still got Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, right? So you have three solid running backs to work with, and they addressed the O line right in the draft when they got Will Campbell first round at LSU. I think it's going to be really, really good. They also added some more in the free agency, and I think coaching matters in this league. I think people like look over it. I think we're so quick to blame coaches, but we don't give coaches credit. You know what I'm saying? Like last year, the Commanders' success, we all look at Jaden Daniels, and we all talk about how he had the greatest rookie season ever, right?
Arguably,
I think. Oh my goodness! See, I already know you're going with this one. All right, he got to the NFC Championship. Stroud won a game, but if we're talking about Stroud, I'm assuming
yeah. Who's we can look at roster to roster. We could do that whole song and dance too.
you're right. They both took because Stroud was picked number
And
two,
and
right?
and they had the Cowboys without. They had the Cowboys from last year, and they had the Giants. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's wait. Just continue. I just said arguably. I didn't say anything crazy.
Once again, the Texans fan just got to keep putting the Texans in this
I said
show.
arguably.
Yeah, okay. Arguably, sure. Arguably, I'm just saying NFC Championship appearance to me that puts the icing on the cake, but it's cool.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
sure, whatever.
So
Yeah.
you had Jaden Daniels, so that's all we talk about. But nobody talks about Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn came to that team, and that defense, honestly, that defense is not good. Looking at it
Nope.
on paper, it's not good. But they
They
played good enough because of Dan Quinn, right? They just added Marshawn Lattimore, so that could help if he can stay healthy. Like they added him like mid to late season last
yeah.
year. So we'll see him if we'll go this year because last year he was dealing with injury too, right? So we'll see what his defense can do this year for the Commanders. But I think coaching matters, bro. And Mike Vrabel coming to this organization, and as you mentioned earlier, Josh McDaniels being the OC with Drake May, right? I love it. Honestly, I do. And I think that this is going to be a team that might just squeeze into that seventh spot in the AFC. I can see it happening. Or worst case scenario be like a game out or 2 games out. They'll be on the bubble
Yep.
in week 16. Right. That's how I feel about this Patriots team. So I'm going with the Patriots for my first Mike Vrabel for my first year head coach that will have the most success. All right. Our next question is which rookie will have the biggest impact this year?
Yeah. This one again, I couldn't make my mind up. I got two guys on both sides of the ball. Start with defense. I think Abdul Carter is going to be a Hall of Famer. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
You pair him up with Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Brian Burns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like that's the only way I can see the Giants winning.
Yes, the
Is
defense.
I mean good luck blocking that.
Yeah.
I mean that dude is just a freak, and we saw it in the college football playoff. He was playing with like one shoulder and was still just killing people.
Wreaking havoc. Yep.
Just unreal. And then like I said, you look at what he's playing around. I mean, I think he's going to be able to play so free compared to other guys that walk in as a rookie pass rusher. You typically have to keep all eyes on him and game plan. They're not going to be necessarily game planning him because Dexter Lawrence is arguably, if not the best nose in the league. And then you got Brian Burns and Thibodeau. Brian Burns is an elite pass rusher, and Thibodeau is good when he wants to be. So defensively, I went with Abdul Carter, and then offensively, I don't know if this is curveball or not, but I'm very high on Tedderell McMillan.
Man.
I think that guy is a freak of nature.
Yes.
Um, I didn't get the whole draft concept of does he love football or not. I don't think if you go play in college and do all this and make it to the NFL that you don't love football. I just don't
Trust me,
see a world that I don't.
you love football. Trust me.
Yeah, I don't see a world that happens. And then a guy who's 6'5" can run like he can run, jump like he can, and Bryce Young, who's a very accurate quarterback who improved a lot towards the end of last year. I'm very high on T Mac and their offense because they don't really have a guy. They're going to run the ball. They ran the ball like crazy last year,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just a matchup freak, and especially in the red zone. It's almost I mean, the only comp just because of size is Mike Evans. Yet I think he's more athletic than Mike Evans. I don't think he's as strong and burly as he is, but I think he's a more athletic version of Mike Evans, a little bit more shiftier. And so I'm very interested to see how they use him in a weaker division. I can see him having a breakout year.
I love it. I love it. Once again, we are on the same page. Now, Ted McMillan, I'm gonna say another guy because you said Ted McMillan, but Ted McMillan to me, I heard comparisons of him, and you said Mike Evans. I've heard comparisons of him to Julio Jones. That's what I've heard, right? And that's a stretch because it's Julio Jones, but
Julio Jones 2.0 is playing at Ohio State this year.
you get it. True. Jeremiah Smith, you're right. That is very true. But you can see that upside in Ted McMillan. I see it, right? And
Yep.
I think Bryce Young is immediately going to be impacted by Ted McMillan because he's a dude, right? You don't have dudes on that receiver room. Like Xavier Leggett, I mean, he's good.
Hey, watch
Right?
out for Hunter Renfro this year.
Hunter Renfro coming back, boom, right? He's good, but he's not a guy that you just say, "Hey, go get it," right? He's gonna get open though, right? And then Adam Thielen, like they have a good receiver room in my opinion. And Ted McMillan to me is gonna be that guy that Bryce Young builds confidence in. He
Yep.
gonna drop back and say, "You know what? You can't guard him. Let me throw it up, go get it." Right. So I love that pick. Since you said that, I'm gonna change up a little bit, and I'm gonna go with Travis Hunter. Now, this is not going to be, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me explain. Let me explain. This is not going to be um impact in terms of wins, right? I don't think Jacksonville's going to the playoffs. I don't think Jacksonville's going to be that good this year. But I think when Travis Hunter, because I think his best side of the ball is playing DB, right? They've already said he's playing both ways in training camp. So they're going to try to experiment this. I don't necessarily like it so much because I don't think adding him to the defense is going to make them that much better. I don't think the defense is that good. So if it was me, if I was running Jacksonville, I would say, look, Travis, you can practice DB, right? We could throw you in maybe every now and then, but you're going to be on offense this year because I need to see Trevor Lawrence have two really good weapons and see what he can do so I can know if he's my guy moving forward. Like, I think this year is big for Trevor Lawrence
Yep.
because Travis Hunter, although he's really great at DB, he's good on offense as well. And he's playing alongside Brian Thomas Jr., who was like top 3 in receiving yards last year.
Yep.
So I think you can't just say, oh, they got Travis Hunter. No, they got Brian Thomas Jr. too. So I think he's going to eat off of Brian Thomas Jr., which puts him in a great situation. He's not the number one receiver. He's definitely the number two. And then defensively, like I said, they want to play him both ways. I'm worried about it for health reasons, right?
That's what I don't see is how you can play both ways in the league because all these coaches are going to do is they're either going to run sweeps at you and have pulling guards and tackles try and block you the entire game,
Yeah,
and then as soon as you get on the other side of the ball, they're just going to jam you at the front. Yeah, he's crazy talented. He's by far the most
exactly.
talented player in the
Yeah,
draft. I just don't see a world where it works out. And also, if he turns out to be a package here and there, like he never plays a full drive, that
yeah,
doesn't put everybody else in rhythm. And I think as a quarterback, that can hurt. Defensively, I'm not really sure how that would affect it. But I don't know. I think, me personally, I think, like you said, I think he's better as a corner. I think he needs to play corner and have packages at receiver. I think that's what he needs to do because I think that can also save him with the physicality because the physicality on the outside is not crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't think they should have traded up. That's another discussion. I think that was a horrible
yeah.
trade in my opinion.
You do.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't see how it's gonna work because physicality. I mean, I just don't.
Yeah, this is
There's
not college. This is not
no.
college at all.
It's not the Big 12.
It's not the big boom. It's not like if you was on the SEC, okay,
That
maybe.
that yeah, or
But
especially the Big 10, which is more physical
boom.
than the SEC.
Boom, but you're in the Big 12, like so. I see everything you're saying, and I agree with you honestly. And this is, like I said, I'm very big on Travis. I think there was two generational talents in this draft, and it was Travis and Abdul.
Yep.
Travis just gives you that versatility that we haven't seen. Like I have not seen it with my own two eyes, right? You heard about Deion Sanders back in the day, and a little bit like Charles Woodson. I think he only did it in college. I think so. I don't
Yep.
think he really did it in the NFL, but it's not normal. Like
I
that
mean,
doesn't.
I did it in middle school, but that was
And actually, you know what? That's crazy because I didn't even get to do it in middle school because I was so good at quarterback that they said, Bess, we can't have you playing both ways and getting hurt. Logan, they probably said, hey, look, our backup just as good as a starter. So if you get hurt on defense, we'll be okay.
well. It's because we only had 22 guys on an eighth grade A team, so that might have had something to do with it.
Okay, maybe, right? But yeah, I just love Travis. I think if it was me, once again, I would put him strictly on offense this year. Let's just score a bunch of points because you and Brian Thomas Jr. can make some noise. But they want to do them both ways. I just pray he does not get hurt. I pray that it just doesn't because you can also knock some years off of him because you're looking at a huge snap count every game if you're playing both
Yep.
ways, right? So you can knock some years off of him. But I hope they go about it the right way. But I'm gonna go with Travis just because I love his upside so much. If everything goes well, he can be like I was playing with my little brother the other day. I said, look, I might have a bold prediction of Travis winning offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year, which is crazy, right? It's a bold prediction. That would be a bold prediction. But I think his upside is like that. But we both agree on Ted McMillan. I think that was the real answer. But I'm gonna go with Travis as well. All right. But there's no better way to cap off an episode with Logan and Jay Bess without doing a bold prediction. All right. So I already know what Logan's about to say. It's out of this world. So Logan, surprise us. Make us gasp. What is the bold prediction?
Well, kind of talked about the Cowboys. That actually wasn't on my bold predictions,
Mhm.
but that's already been said. The first one, I'll start with this. That way, your head's not too big. I think the Steelers are going to win a playoff game this year. I'm going to start with that. That way, it's not the last thing I say. I really do.
That's
Was I
so
on?
disrespectful on so many. Like you think you're making me happy right now, but a bold prediction is us winning the playoff game. That hurts. That
When's the
hurts.
last time y'all won a playoff game?
That is very true. But
That's why it's bold.
it's still a
Right?
jab. It's still a jab though. That's a jab. I think a bold prediction is like, okay, let's say the Patriots win a playoff game. I don't think it's so. You think it'll be crazy if the Steelers win a playoff game this year? That's what you're saying.
No, but I can see it happening. They haven't.
You say okay. You have to keep quit saying that. You keep saying we haven't. I get it. I know. Trust me. I know.
I mean,
Okay.
it's just I not since Seven was there, and even Seven lost a couple playoff games before he retired.
Yeah, 77 single handedly lost a couple, but I don't want to get into that. But go ahead.
Well, if that's not too bold, I don't know if you're gonna like my list then, but again, not bold. I think the bold prediction: Rams win the NFC. Is that bold enough?
That is bold. No, it's bold because of the Eagles. It's bold.
Yeah, I'm that high on the Rams, and the
Yeah.
fact that they were that close against them, um, like I'm all the points I said earlier. I think the Rams are going to be so good. I think their defense is going to be even better than they were last year. All those
Yeah.
guys were young. They were just out there playing, and
Yeah.
they're going to develop another offseason. As long as Stafford stays healthy, they're going to be a problem. I think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs this year. All the points you said with Mike Vrabel, him being in Tennessee, me being a Texans fan, if anybody didn't know, he
Oh,
is an
nah, everybody
absolute.
knows. Everybody knows.
Now
Trust me.
everybody knows, and even you were talking about those like the AJ Brown, Ryan Tannehill. Looking at those rosters, it wasn't necessary. Like if you saw that on paper, you'd be like, okay, I'm not terrified. I mean, they were arguably the top two, top three AFC teams in a 2-3 year stretch without a dude at quarterback, and I think that is insanely impressive. And their defense is going to be a problem this year.
Mhm.
There's a ton of good defenses in the AFC. I think they're going to be a problem. And then last but not least, I think the Texans are going to make the conference game this year.
It's bold. I like it.
Um, Again, everyone's going to say offensive line, and I completely understand. Um, but if you look at what they did, Tunsil is top 5 left tackle. I mean, set in stone. But boy, was he undisciplined. I mean, fall off starts, holding. Like I remember watching the Cowboys game. I'm like, holy crap, Nico's in like all of my fantasy leagues. He just took a 80-yard screen, a touchdown. That's 16 points right there, easy.
Yeah.
Nope, false start on a screen. Laramie Tunsil, it's like same song and dance every week. And from what I can see with Nick Casario, he saw our offensive line was so bad. We cut Shaq Mason. He was horrible all last year. He was good the year before. Last year was horrible. Could be age, I don't know. And we saw that contract that we have Laramie Tunsil, and it's like, you know what? Let's just build this thing from scratch. It's like I don't think it can be worse
Mhm.
with that much money. Trade Tunsil away, got extra second round pick. We signed Cam Robinson, who's a good tackle. He's proven to be a good NFL tackle. Not great. He hasn't shown
Solid.
that yet.
Solid.
Solid. We signed Trent Brown, who used to be really good. Not sure if he's going to start or not. He's got a lot of injury problems. Signed him for cheap. We got Lincoln Tomlinson. Again, another good offensive lineman, not great. Brought him in. We also signed that tackle, or not signed, drafted that tackle out of Minnesota, who I think is like 6'5", 340, and runs like a 4.9 40, sub 540. So freaking nature, hoping he pans out. And then you look at the addition with Nick Chubb. Again, obviously injury history.
Yeah.
If he's healthy, if him and Joe are healthy, that's the best running back duo in the league
Mhm.
over Detroit.
I think so too.
Um,
I think they're both better than David
Still,
Montgomery by a little bit.
yeah,
So yeah.
still have a deep running back room. We have Bevan Jordan coming back. We got 2 good tight ends. And then I'm in love with our receiver room. Tank's probably going to be out the entire year, but you look at Higgins, and I'll do it comparable. You look at Higgins and you look at Nico Collins. 2 very similar body types, frames, speeds, freak athletes.
Yep.
And then you look at Noel, who we also drafted at Ohio State, and you look at Christian Kirk, who we got for a 7th-round pick. 2 shifty, really good route running slot receivers that can make plays after the catch. And then obviously we got a quarterback, and then I think we're arguably going to have the best defense in the league. I think our defense is going to be absolutely amazing. And people love to forget that we had KC on the ropes last year without Diggs, Tank getting hurt, and that offensive line. And I'm only saying that because our defense is that good. And then we added C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and we had Lastard and Bullock, 2 rookies starting, and we added Sheldon Rankings, and then that interior D line we added a couple bodies. Like I can see us. We're gonna make the. I think we're gonna win the AFC South,
Yeah, I think y'all will too. I don't think that's
and
biased at all.
we have yet to get over the division round hump. Um, and obviously it's going to come down to the seedings and everything. Don't want to play KC, but people also want to forget that Baltimore has our number, but we demolished Buffalo at home. It was at home, but I don't know. That's my bold take that we make the conference game, not win it, go to Super Bowl, but make the conference championship game.
Yeah, if you can pick a team outside of the big three, which would be Kansas City, Buffalo, and the
Yeah.
Ravens, then I think it's a bold prediction for sure. So I like that one. My bold prediction, and this is not biased. Okay, it's not biased. So let's just not go there. But I think the Steelers will break the sack record, which is held by the 1984 Bears, which is 72. All right. And this is not crazy to say because the Eagles just had 70 back in 2022, right? And then the Broncos had 63 last year. So you can get up there in numbers in terms of sacks. I think we got better. First of all, our pass rush has always been the bright spot of our team, right? It just how it is, right? But I think our secondary got better, which means that even if we can't get there as fast, they can hold it just long enough for us to hit home. Right. You're looking at TJ Watt, who I think is the best defensive player in the league by far. People will argue Miles Garrett, but I think it's TJ. Okay. He's led the league in sacks since 2020, so I don't want to hear it. But you also have Alex Highsmith, who is very underrated, right? And he plays opposite side TJ, so you're going to see single coverage every single time because TJ just draws so much attention, right? You got Cameron Hayward in the middle. We just drafted Derek Harmon, good D lineman from Oregon. And then you have Nick Herbig, who I think will be a breakout player this year off the bench, right? He already showed promise last year for the little reps he gets. He only gets in rotation and whenever TJ's hurt or Alex hurt. When he's in there, he shoots like he's like a firecracker, dude. Like he's
Yep.
so fast coming off the edge. And then we also drafted Jack Sawyer this year from Ohio State, who I think was solid. I'm shocked he fell. I think we got him like
Yep.
fifth round, sixth round, something like that. So I'm very shocked that he fell. He made one of the biggest plays in the championship this past year, college football. So I think we'll break the sack record. And I don't think that's crazy. I think 72 is definitely reachable with our defense. And that is my biggest vote. My other vote prediction is that Caleb Williams will be a top 10 quarterback by the end of 2025. That is another bold prediction that I have. Once again, I think we've talked about it. I don't need all the facial expressions. Okay, let me persuade you.
Okay.
Okay, let me persuade you. Right. We've been talking about this whole entire episode. We have really been emphasizing the impact of coaching. Right. We talked about Andy Reid with Mahomes. Mahomes is really great, but you have a guy that can draw it up for you. Right. We talked about Sean McVay. We talked about these guys. I think Ben Johnson can do it with a more talented quarterback. I think off rip, he's more talented than Jared Goff. I think we can just agree on that, right? He has a better arm. I think he can escape. He's more athletic, right? Coming out of college, people was comparing to Patrick Mahomes, saying he's the next Patrick Mahomes. They wasn't saying that for no reason, right? So now that he gets a guy that can make it easier for him, I think last year Eberflus did not help. The OCs did not help. Nothing helped, right? And they wasn't running the ball either, which put more stress on him to make plays. It's just too much for a rookie, right? And I think this year with the better OC, I think with DJ Moore, I think Roma Dunzy, I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. And then you look at the tight end position with Cole Kmet, and you got Colston Loveland, who they got in the draft this year. That's weapons to play with Ben Johnson, right? And you saw what Ben Johnson was doing in Detroit with the trick plays, the Penei Sewell running routes, right? We saw Jameson Williams throwing passes. Like when you have to go against an offense that can pull that out at any time, you play on your toes a little more, right? You're worried, like okay, it's a handoff, but is it going to be? Are they going to toss it back to the quarterback, right? Is it like you have to think more, which is going to make you not really play your assignments as well, which makes it easier. I think everything is going to be way easier for Caleb Williams this year. Um, I think he'll be top 10 by the end of the season. I think it's bold, but I don't think it's crazy, honestly. I think there's some quarterbacks in the top 10 that I think he can jump ahead of after this year. I'm looking at like guys at the bottom of the top 10, like your Jared Goffs, like your Baker Mayfields. Like some people put Jordan Love like around that 10 area. Some people put Brock Purdy around that 10 area. I don't think it's crazy to say he'll have a better season than those four guys. I don't think that's crazy. Baker Mayfield maybe because Baker has so many weapons this year. But I think Caleb can crack top 10 this year. I don't think that's bad to say. Last year, our vote prediction was Puka Nacua being a top 5 receiver after that season. And best believe, I think you think too that he's a top 5 receiver in the
He's up
league.
there.
5, worst case scenario 6. How about that? Because there's so many good receivers in the league. I think
He's
he's a
top
third
10
best.
for sure.
Top 10 for okay. That's not doing me any justice. I
I'm
said top
just,
5.
I mean, I could name three guys off rip, so that only
Three
leaves
guys
you
off rip.
CD,
But
Jamar, JJ,
yep, off rip. That's cool. But I think once we get to that 4 or 5 spot, Puka
and
got to
then
pop in.
you can argue bias. Call me what you want. You can argue Nico. You can argue Devontae Adams.
Of course.
Tyreek Hill still Tyreek Hill.
Of course. I should have known.
I mean, I feel like I'm missing somebody.
No, you're not. You're not missing anybody. You're digging right now. You're trying to dig deep. No, you're not. You're not
Let's
missing
look.
anybody.
What we got? I mean, you can argue Amon Ra. Who else?
I had so my top five.
Malik Neighbors is only 1 year, but I mean that's
My top five is JJ, Jamar, Puka, CD, AJ. That's my five.
and AJ. Jeez, Louise.
And then I have Malik Neighbors as like an honorable mention because I love what he did last year with no QB help at all. The QB room was so bad last year, and this year you're getting Russ, who's an automatic upgrade. So I don't care what nobody thinks about Russ. He's an automatic upgrade over Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, and Drew Lock for crying out loud, right? So I think that Malik Neighbors is definitely on the cusp of getting in the top five, but I think Puka's top five, and I called it. So I also called Jim Harbaugh be the most successful first year head coach. Well, really, Dan Quinn would have won that, really. But I hit the nail on the head because he got to the playoffs. He lost to the Texans crying out loud, but he got to the playoffs.
Embarrassed, not just
I
lost.
mean, it's just that turf, man. That turf that hurt Stephon Diggs. I saw a lot of guys slipping for the Chargers last year. That turf, man. I don't know what y'all got
Sounds
going
like
on.
an equipment staff problem.
Needs to be for the Texans.
No, for the Chargers. I think we're fine. We play good at home.
Yeah, I mean, because y'all used to it. Y'all used to playing on bad turf. I mean, other teams got to come and adjust to the
What
bad
happened
turf.
last time the Texans and Steelers played?
That's it, y'all, for today's episode of the NFL Vault, man. Look, it was great having Logan back on the show. My old times, man. Like I said, just me giving him a good old fashioned beat now in sports talk. I mean, it's just how it goes. I mean, it is what it is.
Whatever floats your boat.
Remember, just know that Robin and Alfred were very important in Batman's life. And
This is
as
more like a Superman Batman,
I
kind of
respect it.
situation.
I respect that. I respect that.
I'll give you Batman, but everyone knows who's got to come in and save the day when the big bad guy comes in.
Just because you have superpowers, it's not fair. All I have is gadgets.
Life's not fair.
I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire with gadgets and a butler, man. What do you like? It's only so much I can do.
And I'm just a guy from Kansas. I mean, there's so much I can do.
Yep, and the Lord blessed you with the ability to fly, right? With the ability to have what is it? Yeah, lasers coming out your eyes and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, super strength.
And really good at predicting NFL stuff. So that's also gonna come
We're
true.
gonna see because just know that on your prediction list you have the Cowboys making the playoffs. So you put your football credibility. You put your football credibility.
I said they're going to be good. I did say they're going to make the playoffs.
You did say that. Yeah, don't try to back out of it now. I have footage. I have tape. I can run it back.
That's fine. That's fine.
You know us, man. We can be up here for hours just going back and forth. But that is our time for today. Like I said, Logan might be back. You never know. Hopefully, he'll be back. All right, but that's it from your boy Jay Bess and your boy Logan. This is the NFL Vault now closing. Y'all stay blessed. We'll see y'all in the next episode. And that's a wrap for episode 2 of the NFL Vault. If you enjoyed the show, do me a favor and drop a like. Also, subscribe and share with your friends, family, and fellow football fans.